sum up the ending to that match?
Well, it was a whirlwind finish. I think you couldn't see Spurs getting anything out of the game. I think the substitutions from Thomas Frank, although the Spurs supporters weren't pleased with him at the time, definitely worked. You know, Tel coming on there, Owen, I think, you know, Richarlison getting a great goal there, and in the end, you know, the euphoria around us, we're in amongst the Spurs fans. They're shell-shocked now because just didn't see United scoring towards the end, but it was a great set piece.
That's the thing, looking at those Spurs players, it looks like they've just lost this match, Owen, because Richarlison thought he'd won it. The atmosphere in here had completely turned, but still, to concede so late, it's like a sucker punch for them.
Do you know what, Linz? I think both teams are in some way disappointed. I think they both felt like the win was there. Tottenham found a way with 2 late goals. But United, for much of that, were in control of the game. Crouchy makes a great point. The subs from Thomas Frank changed the game. But then later on, a set piece for Manchester United. I think a score draw is probably a fair result. There wasn't many chances in the game, but they were taken, and that goal from De Ligt is massive for Manchester United. And in the league table, they're both still in a very good position. A loss for either would have been a big blow. It would have been a blow for either. Do you think either will be happy, though, with a point when they reflect on it?
Yeah, I think on reflection, I think Spurs were disappointed. You know, they didn't create too much, although they were better in the second half. First half was really disappointing. And United, although they had some of the ball, they didn't create quite enough, and you know, not enough shots on goal.
Well, we can hear from the man who scored the equaliser for Manchester United. He's alongside Becky Ives.
Certainly is. Matthias, well done. First goal of the season. What a time to get it.
Yeah, I think it was on the right time. Luckily, we got a point here. I think we deserved more the way we played. Maybe the second half, I felt like we were a little bit tired, especially in the beginning. We didn't really get the chance to get out of our half. And then obviously it's waiting until they have. I mean, the first goal, I think it's a little bit lucky. I blocked the ball, it goes in. It's a difficult situation. I'm a little bit upset about that. But in the end, I'm really proud of the team, how we fought back, and in the end get a point in a quite a difficult stadium.
Look, were you a little bit shell-shocked to go 2-1 down, that Richarlison goal, and then you've got a couple of minutes? But what does that show about this United that you still found a way?
Well, I think it's the same as last week. I mean, last year we lost against Forest 1-0. Last season we lost against Tottenham 1-0, and today and also last week you see that we still have the fire in our belly to get a point, to get a goal, even with 10 men. And that way I'm really proud of the team. And yeah, the season is long, so in the end, if you don't lose these kind of games, it's always more important than how to say, drawing is more important than losing. So it's fine.
Well, look, it's 5 unbeaten now this season for you guys under Amorim. What has been the turning point?
Well, I think also today you saw we are really dangerous for opponents. I mean, we have a lot of speed in the front. We're really stable. We know our strengths also well. We utilize them also well. I think today even we had a lot of more opportunities to get in behind them because they are vulnerable in this. But yeah, I think we played a good game, and I think we could deserve a little bit more.
Yes, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much to you, Becky. Matthijs de Ligt there with the equaliser for Manchester United. Late drama here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and we will of course bring you all the reaction from here in North London. But international rugby is... But we've had a thrilling ending here in North London. Man United were in front in the first half, but Mathys Tel equalised in the 84th minute. A 91st minute goal from Richarlison thought he'd sealed the points for Spurs, but Ruben Amorim's side fight back again to take a point. Welcome back. Big drama here in North London. De Ligt scoring a late equaliser for Manchester United in a game that finished 2-2 with Spurs. The Tottenham players looking like it was a defeat at the end of the match, but both sides leaving with a point. And they're both on 18 now in the table. It started really slowly, this one. It was almost a bit boring early on in this one. It took a while to get going, but what a brilliant finish it was. Now you've had time to reflect on it, Peter.
As they put an extra impetus in Spurs' play, and then a set piece at the end to kind of save Manchester United. But I suppose you have to look at it with lots of it labelled at Manchester United with their mentality, and you know, getting a draw out of the game in a difficult circumstances would prove that wrong.
There'd only been 3 shots on target. up until Mathys Tel got the equaliser for Spurs in the second half. That substitution didn't go down very well, Owen, but with just his second touch, scored a brilliant goal.
Yeah, whether it was about Xavi Simons or Tel, but the fans weren't happy. You know, they hadn't created much from that point, but actually, once he came on, and Odegaard, he's the one who receives the ball in the half turn there, and Udogie as well. That left side was completely transformed, and they created loads of opportunities. I think it's the most crosses they've ever had in a Premier League game into the box. But I just thought, Crouchy, this left-hand side, there was a little bit more positive and energy getting at Manchester United.
A hell of a lot more urgency. Odegaard, especially, you know, when he was facing Ahmad, he definitely had the beating of him, and you have to say it was a great finish. Took a slight nick here, but the first touch kind of sets it up from Tel, and obviously as a swipe at it, the touch from De Ligt just takes it away from the goalkeeper.
And big celebrations from Thomas Frank. All three subs involved as well. We're giving him a lot of praise at that point for the impact of those subs, Crouchy.
Well, it's a sweet feeling, I think, certainly when the crowd may be on your back for some of the celebration, for some of the substitutions, and then you manage to get the positive result and outcome, and them all contributing as well.
And then they just built from that to the point where Richarlison thought he'd won the game for them. The celebration certainly said that he thought he'd won it.
But you know what, Linz? They had loads of bodies in the box, obviously, for that first goal, and then obviously here, you know, they just do really well. Richarlison, it's such a clever header, Crouchy, isn't it? You see on this angle, you know, Ugarte, he gets in there deep and he can't get out. He just doesn't have time. That's why Richarlison's onside. Obviously, they're going for the shot, but the header, Crouchy, from Richarlison is great.
He needed that, Richarlison. He had a difficult afternoon, I thought, today, but that was his moment. It was a fantastic flick of the head, great finish. But I thought he had a difficult game. But the relief of that moment, I've been in those situations where you probably haven't had the best of the game. It's not really gone for you, and you feel like you've scored the winner, and that is a special moment.
Have you celebrated like that when you've thought you won it and then regretted it when you didn't take all 3 points?
Shirt off Linz would have been a red card for me, not just a yellow. So I'll refrain from that one in my career.
That was the 91st minute, Owen, but in the 96th, Matthijs de Ligt with an equaliser for Manchester United. And this is a pattern now from the last 2 games where they've gone behind but then come back to take a point. So is that progress?
Yeah, brilliant reaction. Obviously, I think it's Brennan Johnson. He's marking De Ligt and he just loses sight of him. I mean, we've seen that deeper ball on set pieces be such a feature this season. It's a great ball and it's a fabulous header from De Ligt, obviously at the death. I think in the end, it's 2-2 is probably a fair result. Can Vicario maybe be outside his post that he could probably save that? Once he touches a Crouch, he's in the goal. But I thought in the end that was probably a fair result. It's
his first goal of the season, but how important has he been for them defensively this season? Yeah,
he's been important. Definitely, I think Luke Shaw in there has been fantastic as well, and obviously a young goalkeeper coming in as well. I think that's been important for them as well. I think Casemiro again being a protection, but listen, there was some bad moments for both sides today, but some good moments, and I think overall going into it, I think they'll be happy with the draw.
How will this go down, do you think, with Spurs fans? Because that puts them up to 3rd, but having had the euphoria of that Richarlison goal and then only taking a point, so still not a win at home in the Premier League since the opening day, Owen. Yeah,
I mean, if you can't win it, don't lose it. And I think obviously could have had 3 points, but a point is probably going into the international break is probably not a bad result. And they're in a great position to strike. Obviously, I know they've got some tough fixtures coming up. You know, they've got Arsenal, they've got PSG, but they're in a good position in the league.
Yeah, and we can see the Spurs manager, Thomas Frank, coming out to join us now. Hello, Thomas. So a point at the end of that game, after the euphoria following Richarlison's goal, does that feel like a good point gained, or do you feel like you let 2 points slip?
I think the very big positive from this game is, I would say, the overall performance, but especially second half, where we stick to the game plan, stick to the structure, stayed in the game, kept doing the right thing, kept believing, which of course I think is, I think that's huge when we, look back at the Chelsea game and we haven't won as much home and all that. We know it's out there. So that to keep going, don't get attracted to stuff we shouldn't do, and then we We come back, scored a brilliant goal, then we get the 2-1 up, and of course you're disappointed we don't win that late in the goal, and in the end, in 11 against 10. But that is just football. How many times have you seen it? So the positive is the players' reaction and how they kept going.
And the positive, I guess, as well, the impact of your substitutions in the second half. How pleased were you with the impact they made? All three of them involved in Mathys's goal.
Yeah, definitely. I think we talk about it all the time. It's not necessarily the 11 starting. It's the players coming on. It's a squad throughout a whole season that is the most important thing.
How difficult is it with the players on the sidelines at the moment? I don't think many people have suggested that. Obviously, attacking-wise, so many players missing. How difficult has that been?
No, of course it's difficult. But that's why you have a squad. So you have other players that need to both step up, and you need to make it work. That's my job. But again, on the flip side, I don't know any coach that don't want his best players on the pitch, of course. But I think today was a good step forward, also offensively.
I mean, initially in the game, I think there was a lot of crosses, but not many of them came off. But obviously for the first goal, it felt like you had a really good presence in the box. Man United defenders were occupied. And I thought that's kind of where that persistence came from, kept getting the ball wide, getting crosses in.
Yeah.
And obviously Tel does brilliantly.
Yeah, I agree. And I think first half, we got a massive chance to Richarlison. It's like it's a free header. He needs to do better. He is so good at that. We know that. But you're right. There's something in where's the opportunities, where's the gaps. So in open play, maybe a little bit down the side on the outside centre backs, but because they sink in, and even they have a lot in the box, I think there's good opportunities for the crosses.
How do you feel about Xavi Simons? It looked like he worked hard today. Bits came off, bits didn't come off. What do you make of his performance?
But I think it was, again, a positive step in the right direction. I think he had a good game against Copenhagen. Of course, it's a different opponent today. So I think he worked hard. I think he landed on the right second balls. I think he was involved in the right actions. And I think he's getting closer and closer to a high level.
What are the things you still want to do better at the end of that performance? It took a while for the game to get going from both sides, really, but what are the improvements you still want to see?
No, I think we need to acknowledge it's two very even teams. Yeah. When two very even teams play each other, I think they want probably to defend quite well. We want to probably defend quite well. Yeah. Then that makes it easy just to make big chances. It's not like, we look back at it, we gave 5 shots away in the game. That's on paper an unbelievable defensive performance,
and the goal was a mistake, really.
Exactly,
again, yeah.
Exactly. So that's why in many ways it was a positive performance going forward, in my opinion.
And you're third as it stands now, following that point. How does that set you up as you go into the international break? But then when you come back, you've got 2 massive away games on the horizon with Arsenal and PSG on the way.
Yeah, I think I take a lot of positives out of this performance. There's always things we want to do better. I think if someone asks us where we are right now, to be able to compete okay in the Champions League, compete okay in the Premier League, with where we were last year, and also with the amount of injuries still, we can't run away from that. I think that's quite good. There's definitely something to build on. There's so much we still want to do better, but the positive for today again was second half. The players' reactions, the mentality and the focus to keep going, doing the right thing, very impressive.
Thomas, thank you very much for coming out to join us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Thomas.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Always honest, Thomas Frank. Very, very keen, though, to focus on the positives there from Tottenham's performance. How do you think this does set them up as they go forward? Being third in the table, Peter.
Yeah, I think he spoke really well about the situation. I think we can't get carried away. He knows full well they haven't. There are improvements to be made, and he was honest about that. I think there will be improvements, but I think if you look at the players that do have to come back, certainly Kulusevski was their best player. I think Maddison, their most creative player, and the number 9, Solanke especially, I think a massive one. That's to the point that Son's been moved on as well. There's a lot of goals in that. And I think the fact that they're third in the league, and yet they haven't quite hit their best, I think. But when they get those players back, and if they're still there or thereabouts, it'll be a big achievement for them.
And he's talked as well about just the 5 shots that they faced in the game. So very much given them a platform to build from, Owen. Do you think it's just going to be time till that attacking rhythm can come on top of that?
Yeah, I thought the first 60 minutes they were very average. Then he made the changes, and I think the energy and the momentum from the players was completely different. So I think he'll be happy with that. But you think about it, Crouchy, you said it, Kulusevski, Solanke, Maddison, Lucas Bergvall. When those boys come back in, technically they're a better side and they can probably play better football. I think they had more possession than Man United today, but again, they got the ball wide and they crossed it. It wasn't really intricate play. But I think you think about the position that they're in the Champions League and the Premier League, they should be delighted considering the injury list that they have. So they'll play better football for sure. But I thought the finish was good.
Although they had more possession, I think Tottenham, I think it always felt like Manchester United. I think with Cunha and Mbeumo, it felt like they had more of a cutting edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And positives for Man United we will get into as well, because they take another point after going behind in a game, fighting back. So they're now 5 games unbeaten. Well, we've got a lot to look forward to for you on TNT Sports. More to come from here, but it is a massive day of rugby for you coming up on TNT.